Last name Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T. Would you mind spelling your first name for me? Dontez, D-O-N-T-E-Z. Tez, T-E-Z? Yes. What do people call you? They call me Taz. Mr. Stewart, how old are you? 32. Today I want to talk to you about your involvement in an organization known as OBH. Do you know what OBH stands for? Original Block Hustlers. I wonder if you can do me a favor. Do you mind pulling down just a little bit your collar? What's on your neck? OBH. A tattoo? Yes. I want to talk to you again about withdrawn. What is OBH? OBH is a neighborhood organization. When you say organization, what do you mean by that? It's a rap group. Do they do anything else besides rap? They do plenty of things. Like what? Sell drugs, a lot of criminal activities. I want to talk to you a little bit about your involvement there, but I want to first talk to you about how we got here. In November of 2017, were you arrested in connection with the murder of Robert Johnson? Yes. We're going to get into that in a little bit. That wasn't your first contact with the criminal justice system? No. In 2004, you were convicted of aggravated assault and firearms offenses. Is that correct? Yes. Do you remember what you got on that case? 11.5 to 23 with 20 years of probation. In February 2006, were you convicted of other firearms offenses in Pennsylvania? Yes. What did you get for those? Revoked the 20-year probation and 3 to 6. 2011, were you convicted of narcotics-related offenses? Yes. Do you remember what you got in that? I don't remember. Okay. After you were arrested in connection with the murder of Robert Johnson, you were indicted by a federal grand jury for your role in a conspiracy with other members of OBH. Is that correct? Correct. That included Abdul West? Correct. Jamil Hickson? Correct. Jamal Blanding? Correct. Hans Gadsden? Correct. Daryl Baker? Correct. Amir Boyer? Correct. Dennis Harmon? Correct. Richard Chase Hoover? Correct. In September of this year, not too long ago, were you on trial for the murder of Robert Johnson? Yes. Was that in state court? Correct, in state court. I apologize. Did that trial ever complete or finish? No. You pled guilty? Yes. Do you want to tell the members of the jury what you pled guilty to? I pled guilty to third-degree murder, but accept also to cooperate. That was an open plea? Yes. Has the state judge promised you what you're going to get in that state sentence for Robert Johnson's murder? No. After you pled guilty in September of 2017, did you and your attorney meet with members from my office as well as Special Agent Becker concerning your possible cooperation in this particular case? Yes. And on October 17th, 2019, did you sign a cooperation plea agreement with the federal government and plead guilty to that conspiracy to deal narcotics with other members of the original Block Hustlers? Yes. You also pled guilty to several substantive counts of dealing crack cocaine? Yes. You also pled guilty to possession of a firearm as a convicted felon, correct? Correct. You have not been sentenced on those charges? No. Do you know the maximum penalty that you face right now? 360 to life. Do you know who is going to sentence you on your sentencing date? Judge Bailson? Has anyone promised you what Judge Bailson is going to give you at the end of this? No, because I've been in here. As part of your plea agreement with the government, have you agreed that Judge Bailson's allowed to withdrawn? Even though you've pled guilty in state court to the murder of Robert Johnson, the state court judge is going to sentence you on that. As part of your plea agreement, you agree that Judge Bailson can consider that murder as relevant conduct when sentencing you on this case. Is that correct? Correct. Do you know what your responsibilities are with that cooperation agreement with the government? Cooperate, tell the truth, nothing but the truth? As part of that plea agreement, have you also agreed to be truthful and honest concerning the murder of Andre Moore in 2016? Yes. You've recently been arraigned on that in state court. Is that correct? Correct. I want to make one thing clear from the start. The murder of Andre Moore, does that have anything to do with any of the individuals you see in the courtroom here today? No. How do you spell the last name? Moore. M-O-O-R-E. I want to draw your attention to around 2015 into 2016. When did you get out of jail in 2015, if you remember? I don't remember. Did there come a time when you sought out Abdul West for any particular reason? Around 2015 to 2016? His name was ringing in the city, you know. Just his music was, you know, doing good, and, you know, he was the man to be around. The man to be around? Yeah. At that time, when you got out of jail, were you selling narcotics? Not in the beginning, when I first got out. Not in the beginning. What happened? I was going to school, Allstate. When did that end? 2016. And did you finish that schooling? No, I didn't finish. At some point, did you start selling narcotics for not OBH, but for a guy you know as Baby? Yeah. When was that? Into 15, beginning of 16. What kind of narcotics were you selling for Baby? Crack. Where were you selling it? Everywhere in the city. North Philly, Frankfurt, a little bit of South Philly. Did there come a time when you stopped selling for Baby and started selling for Abdul West? Yes. Let's talk about that. When does that start? Mid-2016, beginning of 2017. How do you approach Mr. West, or why do you approach Mr. West? I approached Mr. West because he had the product. When you say product, what are you referring to? He had the coke. How did you know that? Through sources. How did you first approach Mr. West in hopes of becoming a seller for him? I had through a third party. Who is that? Dark Low. Do you know what his real name is? Charles Sally. In 2016. Where did you have to go? How did you meet up with him? Met him at the mansion. What's the mansion? A house on around Sydenham. How did you know to go there? That's where I was pointed to by Dark Low. That's where everybody was chilling. That's where everybody was chilling, you say? Yeah. Describe the mansion to me. What does it look like? Just a regular house. Do you remember the first day you went to the mansion? Yeah. Tell me about it. Who was there? Everybody was there. How many people? Probably like 10 to 20 people. You said that OBH, it's a rap group also involved in criminal activity. Does any rapping happen at the mansion? Yeah. What is the mansion used for? Used for stashing drugs, chilling. First time you went to the mansion, you said there were a lot of people there. Yeah. What were they doing? Smoking, playing games, and doing transactions. What do you mean by transactions? Drug transactions, money transactions. Ever see any kinds of weapons at the mansion? Yeah. Tell me about that. Everybody had weapons on them. Everybody had weapons on them? Everybody. Can you explain that to the jury? How many people would be at the mansion at various times? It would be like numerous, like a lot of people, like 10, 15, and everybody be in there playing a game, smoking, passing work off, coke, weed. When you first got to the mansion, were you provided with narcotics right away? No. Why not? What had to happen? I had to work my way into that trust circle. Say that again, please. I said I had to work my way in the trust circle. What did you have to do? I couldn't go right to Abdul West, so I had to go through Dark Low. Dark Low told me to wait, and I went above his head and seeked out Abdul West myself. What do you mean by that? Why did you have to wait? What did you have to wait for? Because I wasn't known to them that well. So what were you supposed to do to get known to them? Just be around. Just be around? Yeah. The first time you went to the mansion, how many days in a row did you go to the mansion? Probably every other day. What would you do when you went there? Sit down, chill. What were you hoping? Did you like sitting down and chilling? No, not really. Why not? It's too many people in there. I don't really know them. So on those several, every other day going to the mansion, were you provided with any narcotics to sell? No, not in the beginning. Tell us how that changed. I approached Abdul West myself. What did you say to him? I told him I needed some coke. I'm trying to get some work. And his response to you was what? All right, I got you. Say that again. All right, I got you. Do you remember around what time this happened? No, I don't. Not time like on a clock, like date. Is this in 2016, 2015? 16. When did you get that tattoo on your neck? 2016. Around what time, do you know? Like around May. Why did you get it? Just to show them that, I was part of what they're a part of. When you say they're a part of, just to be clear, you're not a rapper, sir? I don't rap, no. You're not a music producer? No, not at all. Are you involved in any legitimate business with the Original Block Hustlers? No. What was your business with Original Block Hustlers? Sell coke and be on call. Let's talk about some people that may have been at the mansion. You ever see someone known as Shoddy at the mansion? Yeah. What's his real name if you know? Daryl Baker. Did he have a specific role in Original Block Hustlers? He was probably like a lieutenant. A lieutenant? Uh-huh. What makes you say that? Because he stayed there and handled all the business when Abdul West wasn't there. Could he keep his voice up, Your Honor? Yes. Talk a little closer to the microphone. Move your chair up. Thank you. Try to keep your voice up. Say that last part again. What you say? You said Daryl Baker was like a lieutenant? Yeah. What makes you say that? He carried out when Abdul West wasn't there, he would carry out, the business-wise, like dealing with coke, the crack, the money that was being transferred from outside, from the streets to, Would you see money transactions occur at the mansion? I had seen it before. And Daryl Baker, you said he was involved in narcotics transactions. Did you see that as well? Yeah. What did he do? He would pass coke to the street runners in bags, count money up. What are street runners? Corner boys. Corner boys? Yeah, pack boys. What are their jobs? They get drugs from the mansion, Abdul West. If not him, Shoddy. How about someone by the name that goes by Kazi? Ever see him at the mansion? Objection, leading. How do you spell that? K-H-A-Z. You ever see someone you know as Kazi at the mansion? Yeah. Do you know what Kazi's real name is? Jamal. Do you see Jamal in the courtroom here today? Yeah. Do you want to point him out and identify an article of clothing he's wearing? Light skin with the blue shirt on, indicating defendant Jamal Blanding. Can you just tell me where Abdul West is sitting? Sitting at the table with the black suit on, indicating defendant Abdul West. What was Kazi's role in OBH? Honestly, he was just around. I don't know. How about someone you know as Meliano or OG? Do you know that person? I don't know him. I've seen him a few times. Where did you see him? At the mansion, at the lounge. Where is the lounge? North Philly, 24th Street somewhere. How many times did you say you saw? Do you know what OG's or Meliano's real name is? Jamal. Do you see him in the courtroom here today? Yeah. Do you mind identifying an article of clothing he's wearing? Light skin, brown suit, indicating defendant Hickson. Did you know an individual that went by the name No Breaks Bras? Yeah. Do you know what his real name is? Han. Han? Yeah. Do you see him in the courtroom here today? Yeah. Do you want to tell the judge and the jury where he's sitting? He's sitting to the far right with the glasses on, white shirt, indicating defendant Gadsden. You mentioned you see narcotics at the mansion. Can you tell us what you saw and what quantities and how often you'd see it there? I would see bricks of coke there, weed there. Do you know an individual by the name of... Yeah. What's his real name? I don't remember. What did you used to call him? What was his role in the organization? He sell clothes, sell weed. What kind of clothes would he sell? OBH clothing. Now you said that you first started selling for Abdul West in 2016. Do you mind telling the jury how this worked? Did you have to pay for it? How much of it were you getting in the beginning? In the beginning, I would get fronted work. Get fronted like an ounce of coke. Sell that, knock that off, come back, hand Ab the money. If he ain't around, hand no break bras the money. Hook back up with either or a lot of times no break bras if I can't get into contact with Abdul West. So when you say coke, are you referring to powder cocaine or crack cocaine? Crack. How much crack were you moving for Abdul West in, let's say, a week? Probably like 2 ounces. Every week since 2016? Yeah. How would you get it? Would you just have to show up at the mansion? Were there rules involved in this? Yeah, I would call Abdul West and meet him at the mansion. If I couldn't get there to the mansion, I'll meet Bras at another location, the condos on 18th and Tioga. You would meet Bras at the condo at 18th and Tioga? Yeah. Did you ever call Bras directly to get crack cocaine? Yeah. But the rules, not the rules. Did you have to call Abdul West first? All the time. Tell me why. It had to be ran through him first. If he wasn't around, he would send you to somebody else? No, he would send me to Bras. So you were moving 2 ounces a week. How many times would you say you got them from Abdul West as opposed to Hans Gadsden? How many times would West give you the crack cocaine as opposed to no breaks Bras? Abdul West, he would give it to me whenever he was around. West would give it to you every time he was available? Yeah. Can you guess how many times you got it from Bras? I mean, I'm going to object, Judge. I don't think we're supposed to be guessing. Can you estimate? I don't think we're supposed to be estimating either. Do you object? Yes. Overruled. I would get the coke from Ab whenever I would call him and he's available around the mansion on Sydenham Street. If he around, drive up there and get it from him. If he wasn't around, he would give it to Bras and I'll meet Bras. I'm probably a block away from that area. Which area, the condos or the mansion? The mansion. So from 2016, you're selling 2 ounces of crack cocaine for Abdul West and you get it from either him or Bras? Yeah. Where would you said before that you got it fronted. Just tell the jury what you mean. What does it mean to be fronted narcotics? A front is, I'll give you this and when you're done, bring it back. You know, bring the money back when you're done the product. So you'd get the narcotics for free. Your job was to sell and bring back money? Right. How much would you sell the 2 ounces a week for? I would bag it all up, chop it all up. And do what with it? And sell it around Northeast Frankfurt area? And how much would you make? How much would you sell it for? Off an ounce, I would bag up anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500 off an ounce and bring back to Abdul West or No Break Bras $1,000. So how much were you making off of it? I was making like $3 grand. And you were getting... Were you getting 2 ounces a week, like on a certain day, or did you go back multiple times a week and get that 2 ounces? I go back whenever I needed it. If I run out Thursday, I have Thursday or Thursday night. If I had an ounce and I knew I was going to sell out before Friday, I would call before Friday so I won't have to keep running back and forth. Now, this 2 ounces a week, when you had to make payment for the narcotics that you were given, who would you make payments to? Whoever I would meet with. Who would that be? Abdul West or Bras? Those were the 2 people? Right. Give money to anybody else in the organization? No. Contacted by Abdul West? Yeah. How did he get in contact with you? He called on the phone. And what did he say to you? He said he needed me to do something for him. He gave me an address and told me to come to this address. I put it in my iPhone and I followed the location and met him on a little block. Do you know what street that was? Marvine Street. Do you remember what time you were contacted by Abdul West? 7 p.m.? 6 or 7 p.m. on October 13, 2017? Right. Was it normal for West to call you and tell you he needed you to do something? No. Had he ever done that before? No. Did you meet with Mr. West? Yes. It was on Marvine Street? Yeah. Do you remember what time you got there? Probably, I think it was 8-ish. What car were you driving? Black Nissan Altima. When you got there, tell the members of the jury what you saw. It was Abdul West, Shadi sitting in a black Challenger with some other dudes outside the car talking with them. Activity going on the block. What did you do? I got out the car and I approached their vehicle. Did you have a weapon on you at the time? Yeah. Was it common for you to have a gun? Yeah. Common for a lot of the people at the mansion to have weapons? Yeah. When you got, did you actually have a conversation with Abdul West and you said Shadi was also there? Yeah. Who was sitting in the driver's seat of the black Challenger? Abdul West was in the driver's seat. Shadi was in the passenger seat. Tell us about the conversation you had with him. I approached the car and Abdul West said he needed me to kill somebody. So I'm asking him, all right, and Abdul West and Shadi was going through, plans on how for me to carry out the hit. What do you mean they were going through plans? Abdul West, he wanted me to shoot him in the head. Shadi told him, no, I'm going to have him somewhere with me and you just come up and just, shoot him up. So you guys were discussing about planning to murder somebody. Did they tell you who this person was? They was discussing the plan on the murder. I just was listening, waiting. What were they saying to each other? At one point, Abdul West said to do it this way. Shadi ain't agree, and Shadi said do it that way. I guess Abdul West ain't agree. Then Abdul West told me to give me my phone. Give him my phone, and he DM'd the guy who they was targeting. Did they tell you who the person was? Yeah. What did they say? They said he asked me, did I know who Robbie was? I told him no. I told Abdul West no. He was like, he be in the mansion with us. He showed me a picture of him, and I'm like, yeah, I know him. He told me he needed me to, kill him, shoot him in his head. I said, how am I going to do that? I don't even know the guy. And he said he was going to set it up to where I'm going to act like I'm making a drug transaction off of him, getting some meth. So what did he do to Mr. West? How did he set up that drug transaction? He DM'd him off the phone. What phone? Off my phone. Do you have an Instagram account? No, I ain't got one. How did he do it? My baby mom had got one. So he took your phone and did what? He logged in, and I don't use Instagram, so I wouldn't know how to. But he got my phone and logged in. He used my phone to DM the target, which was Robbie Johnson. Had you met Robbie prior to that? I seen him around the studio one time, that's it. What studio? 444. What's that? The Bat Cave. Have you been there before? A few times. We'll come back to that in a moment. Do you remember the Instagram account that was used on the phone to DM Robbie Johnson? Like TT_26 or 27? TT? Yeah. I'm not going to ask you, but is that in reference to your baby mama? Yeah. What happened then? He connected with him, and Abdul West was texting as if it was me, and he texted him saying, what's up? This is Taz. I'm trying to link up with you to get some glass. And Robbie Johnson responded back, and we connected. I got his phone number. Did you agree that you were going to kill Robbie Johnson? Yeah. Why would you do that? Abdul West told me to. If you said no, what did you think would happen? Probably got me killed. I don't know. If you said no, do you think he'd give you any more narcotics to sell? Yeah, he would cut me off if I would have told him no. Mr. West never asked you to do that prior to that date? No. So after they told you to kill Robbie, you agreed. Where did you go? I got in my car, I drove to my apartment, swapped out weapons of mine, and I drove down Bridge Street. What do you mean swapped out weapons of yours? I forget what kind of weapon I had when I pulled up to meet with Abdul West. I had like a 380 or something. Talking about a gun? Yeah. You went and got a different one? Right. So when you switched out your gun, did you have any more conversations with Robbie? Yeah. I had texted him, and then I told him that I needed some work, which was meth, glass. And did he tell you where he was, what he was doing? He said that he was getting dressed, ready to go out. Did he tell you where he was going? Vanity Grand. What is Vanity Grand? It's a club. Strip club? Gentlemen's club. And did you make further plans to meet with him later on to conduct this drug transaction? Yeah. Tell us about that. I wound up calling him off another phone and told him that I needed some glass, and he told me no. I told him to meet me around Bridge and Torresdale area, and he directed me to meet him on 4000 Benner Street. I want to go back, Mr. Stewart. I forgot something. Back when you were meeting with Mr. West and Mr. Baker on Marvine, did they indicate that if you had performed this homicide that you would benefit from it in any way? Yeah, he said he had me. What did Ab tell you? He said, I got you. What did you take I got you to mean? I took it as he was going to pay me in money. Yeah, money, I got you. Let's go back. You made some arrangements to meet up with Robbie Johnson on Benner Street. Is that correct? Correct. Approximately what time? Benner and what, if you remember? I don't remember. Tell us what happened. First time I met up with him, I met him on 4000 Benner on the side of the Dollar Tree. I got out of my Nissan, jumped in his Nissan, and he had the meth. He gave it to me, and the original mission was for me to, kill him right there. I didn't kill him right there because there was people outside the car sitting on the step. There were too many people around? Yeah. So what did you do? I got back in the car and I FaceTimed Abdul West and I told him, damn, it didn't go down. He got a little upset. He was saying some words. What kind of words was he saying? Oh man, you f***ing up. I gotta call my folks and tell them you ain't do what I asked you to do. So he was mad. So I told him don't worry about it. I'm going to call him back. I'm going to link back up with him. Do you have any idea why Abdul West wanted Robbie Johnson killed? He said he was playing both sides of the fence. Who said that? Abdul West. He was playing both sides? Yeah. What did that mean to you? He was dealing with Abdul West and he was dealing with an enemy of his also. Enemy of Abdul West? Yeah. Do you know that person who he's talking about? When you say enemy, do you have a particular person in mind, a street name or anything? Yeah, I forget the guy's name. Okay, so after you talked to Abdul West and tell him that you had not killed Robbie Johnson, you told him that you'd take care of it. Was that the words you used? Yeah. What did you do? I drove back around Bridge and Torresdale and I sat in my car looking at the meth I had, not knowing what it was, and I was trying to plan on how I can get him back out and, complete the job, the mission. So I was just sitting in my car trying to figure out how can I, make things right between, Make things right between what? Abdul West, because he sounded a little upset when I talked to him, when I told him I didn't do it. When you said you were looking at the meth and you didn't know what it was, when you were dealing with Abdul West, the drugs you were provided were what? With crack and weed? Did other people in the organization have different roles to play in what drugs were being sold? Yeah. Let's talk about you're sitting in your car, you're looking at the meth, you really don't know what it is? No. What do you do to make things right for Abdul West? I had wound up texting Robbie. He was at the club, Vanity Grand, and it was like probably an hour or so later. And I made it seem like I sold out. I'm out of everything. I need more. And he said, Robbie Johnson said when he's on his way out, Vanity Grand closed around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. He said he'd meet me right back there. And when he let me know that, I had time to prepare a plan on how I can ambush him. So what I did was I had called somebody else that I knew, another OBH member. What's his name? Berto. What's his street name? OBH Berto. OBH Berto? Yeah. He's a drug dealer in OBH? Artist, rapper. How did you get in contact with OBH Berto? He was around the area and I had his number from previous dealings with him. When you called him, what did you say? I said I need to meet up with you. Where are you at? He gave me his location, which was not too far from where I was parked at around Granite Street, around Bridge and Granite. And when I went around where he was at and got in the car and I asked him was he down for a 187 and he said yeah. And I showed him a picture. I said, Ab, he want me to smoke the bull. You said a couple of things there I just want to take. You said down for a 187. Could you tell them what 187 means? 187 is a homicide that the West Coast use, LA. You said smoke. What did you mean by that? Smoke, kill, smoke him, kill him. You said bull. What does that mean? Who? You said bull. You said you're going to smoke the bull. I'm saying it wrong. I'm not from Philadelphia. Bull, is that the term for a person? Yeah, like bull, dude. Does OBH Berto agree to help you? Absolutely. You said absolutely. What do you mean by that? He was down. He was like, all right, come on, we out. But I was giving him the rundown on how it was going to go down. I said I'm going to meet up with him and I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to exchange money and drugs, but you're going to walk up and hit him in his head. But wait until I get out of the car first. Tell us what happened. Around that night, I gave Berto a 9-cig sour. Say that again. You gave him a what? A 9-cig sour. That's a gun? Yeah. And I let him out at around the corner of Benner Street, and Robbie was he parked? Robbie was already parked out there, and I had parked my car, jumped in his car, in Robbie's car, and he had the meth. He put it on the armrest, and I was like, I made it seem like I forgot some money in the car, so I got out the car, and I seen Berto at the corner, and I gave him like a little signal. I went in my car, I rolled my back window down a little bit and waited for the shots to ring off. And I heard like 10, 14 shots. Berto came, ran to the passenger door, opened it. He got in. I drove off. What did Berto do with the gun? I had got it off him when he got in the car. When I dropped him off, I gave it to him and I told him to put it up because I didn't want to drive that early morning with a smoking gun on me. So I told him to hold it. Do you know what he did with it? He put it in a shoebox, put some styrofoam in it, and he had put it up. What do you mean, put it up? What does that mean? He stashed it in whoever house he was at when I dropped him off. I think it was his girlfriend. I don't know. It was somebody's house. I think it was his girlfriend's house, though. After you were done, you informed Abdul West what had happened? Yeah. How did you do that? I texted him. What did you text him? Touchdown. How are you doing? All right. You were sort of an independent contractor, is that correct? Correct. As you indicated to Mr. Witherell, you would be fronted a certain amount of product. You would bag it up for yourself and you would sell it to the customer base that you had developed, correct? Correct. And you had developed your own customer base over a period of time, correct? Correct. Okay. You were able to get better product and more product through Mr. West than this other gentleman baby that you had initially been doing some work for. Is that correct? Correct. And the product that you dealt with was crack cocaine. Is that right? Correct. Did you also sell some weed? Yeah. Okay. For how long a period of time would you say that you were selling those two products for Mr. West? A year and a half. Okay. And Robbie Johnson, you had met with him one time, I think you said? I seen him one time, and I physically actually had met him one time also. When was that? When I first seen him was in the studio, 444 Batcave. I seen him down there. I didn't speak, didn't say nothing to him or nothing. Then I met him when I did the drug transaction when he gave me the meth. He fronted me the meth. Okay, did he even know who you were? Yeah, he knew who I was from seeing me around. How? From seeing me around the mansion or in the studio. He knew who I was. When had he seen you at the mansion? Probably, I don't know, many seen me at the mansion. I mean, people be there. Well, do you remember specifically when the two of you were in each other's company? The night he got killed. Well, sure, that night, but other than that, I mean, is that the only time? No. By the way, it was you that killed him? No, I didn't kill him. Well, not personally, but you got Berto to do it, right? Right. And by the way, you had known Mr. West for how long before he asked you to do that? Since 2010. Since 2010? Yeah. You had known Mr. West? Yeah. Okay, But you really didn't start working for him until 2016, right? Yeah. I mean, how much time did you spend with Mr. West between 2010 and 2016? Not that much because I got locked up. Like barely at all? Right. I mean, so in 2016, when in 2016 do you start doing some work for Mr. West? I don't know a specific date and time. How about a month? How about a season? I don't know that either because I smoked too much weed to recap on what day, what time. Now, you know, it's kind of funny because when Mr. Witherell was asking you questions about dates and times, I never heard you once say, I don't remember anything because I smoked too much weed. Agreed? Agree. Okay, so when I asked you a question, I mean, not even 3 or 4 minutes into my cross-examination, you come up with, I'm not sure exactly when it happened because I smoked too much weed. Objection. Well, that's not a question. What's the next question? So, seriously, a month, a season, when do you think you first started doing some work for Mr. West in 2016? Springtime. Springtime? Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, the springtime was sort of a time when you got yourself into some trouble also, right? Springtime 2016? What do you mean by trouble? You did the shooting in June, correct? Correct. Okay, the shooting that you had, well, you waived your preliminary hearing for the other day, correct? Correct. That was the shooting involving Mr. Moore, the murder of Mr. Moore, correct? Correct. So did you start doing work for Mr. West before the murder or after the murder? The work as far as what? As far as doing work for Mr. West. Buying drugs off him? Getting drugs off of him? Yes. That's the same time I was dealing with him. Okay, so June of 2016 is roughly the time when you start getting drugs from Mr. West, correct? Correct. Okay. Now, you had been hanging out at the mansion a little before then to sort of gain his trust, correct? Yeah. And at some point, you say you go up to him personally, you let him know that you want to have some work, right? Right. Okay. He starts fronting you some product and you make a go at it, right? Right. And again, based on your prior experience, you knew where to make the hustle work for you, right? Right. So you started turning over, what, about 2 ounces a week, you said? Right. And again, we're talking 2 ounces of crack cocaine, correct? Correct. Maybe a little marijuana on the side? Correct. You say at some point, by the way, you say that a lot of people hang around the mansion and then other people hanging around some of the other locations after the mansion got the search warrant in September of 2017. There's a lot of people hanging around, correct? Correct. And a lot of these people have been there, been associated with Mr. West for some time, correct? Correct. You were sort of one of the newer people, correct? Correct. And yet he comes to you about doing the murder? Correct. Why would that be? Any idea? I don't know. I mean, he hadn't mentioned anything to you before then about doing any shootings or anything, had he? No. Had you maybe been bragging about the body that you had? Correct, yeah. So you had been bragging about the Andre Moore body? Yeah. No. Oh, I mean, the reason you did it is because Mr. Moore had shot your brother, correct? Correct. I mean, that was sort of there's a certain amount of honor about going after him, right? Objection. Overruled. There's a certain amount of honor about getting back at Mr. Moore for shooting your brother, correct? Correct. All right. You were proud of it? Come on, admit it. You're under oath. You are proud of the fact that you killed Mr. Moore because he shot your brother. I wasn't proud of it. We're street guys, so eye for an eye. So in keeping with the credo of an eye for an eye, you were pretty proud of yourself for gunning the guy down that shot your brother? I don't think nobody'd be proud of killing somebody. Seriously? Come on. You were pretty proud of yourself. You have asked him 3 times. I'll move on, Judge. Okay, so let me get back to my question. Why would it be that out of nowhere, seemingly nowhere, Mr. West would come to one of the newest guys on the crew and say, I want you to shoot somebody? To this day, I still don't know why. Pardon me? To this day, I still don't know why he would come to me out of all people. Shocking? Shocking. And did you say to him, listen, I'm not about that? I ain't say that. Right, you did it. Why not? Because I wanted to keep my line open with him as far as me getting fronted drugs from him. You are making him money, correct? Correct. All right. In fact, I'm willing to bet you were probably one of the best sellers that he had. Wait just a minute. Rephrase the question. Rephrase what question, Judge? The one you just asked. You can't say, I'm willing to bet. Okay. You were probably one of the best salesmen that he had? I don't know. You really don't know what other people were selling? I mean, I would get my crack from him and go my way and do my business, sell my crack and my weed to my clientele around my stomping grounds. Okay, so you weren't surprised when, out of the blue, he says, I want you to take care of somebody for me? Yeah, I was surprised because I'm like, why he asking me? Well, did you say that to him? No, I didn't say that to him. Okay, did you talk to anybody about it? Yeah. Who? Berto. Berto. When did you talk to Berto about it? By the way, what's Berto's real name? Berto. You don't know his name? Berto. Do you know a last name? No. Do you know where Berto lives? No. So this is a guy that you're going to talk to about helping you do a murder, and you don't know his last name, and you don't know where he lives, right? Do you know his cell phone number? Not anymore. Well, what did it used to be? Objection. It wasn't that long ago. It was less than 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't remember. I ain't good with remembering cell phone numbers. You're pretty good with numbers, though. You remember that you were selling 2 ounces a week. You remember that, don't you? Yeah. You remember how much the front money was. You knew it was $1,000 for an ounce. Yeah. You remember, I think maybe it was actually even the judge who asked you about how much you were making out of that, and you remembered $2,500 to $3,500. Yeah. You're pretty good with numbers when you want to be. Yeah. You just don't remember his cell number because you don't want to. Come on, what's Berto's last name? Rephrase. What's Berto's last name? Objection. I don't know. It's repetitive. He said he doesn't know. Where did Berto live? I don't know. He answered those questions. Where did he hang out? Do you know where Berto hung out? He hung out where I was selling drugs at. Can you narrow that to a block or two? Bridge and Torresdale, Torresdale and Dittman, Glenlock Street. Do you want a block? Glenlock Street. Okay. What block of Glenlock? 2800? Oh, I definitely don't know that. Well, you were there every day, weren't you? Yeah. You don't remember what block of Glenlock it was? No. So when you sat down with the guys from Team USA, did you go through and pick out a photograph of Berto? Yeah. And you showed that to them? Yeah. Okay, and what name was it under? Alberto. Alberto what? I didn't see no last name. Has he been arrested? I don't know. Did you ask? No. Did you care? No. Well, thank you. So out of the blue, Mr. West asks you to shoot somebody that you've seen once in your life. Right. And then what he does is gets on your phone, right? He gets on your phone and sends an Instagram. Is that right? A DM. Pardon me? Direct message. Okay. Direct message? Right. Okay. And he sent a message that looked like it was from you? Correct. And had you ever sent a direct message to Mr. Johnson before? No, I don't got Instagram. I don't know how to activate it, work it, use it. Did you know his cell phone number? I got it after the text message was, not the text message, the DM was complete. Okay, that was the first time you ever had any contact with him other than seeing him once at the studio? Yeah. What was the message? What was the message? Abdul West, he texted him. Right, but he texted him as if it was coming from you. Right. What did it say? I don't know, something about, I don't know exact words because, well, it was on your phone? Right. You didn't take a look to see what the message was? It said something like, yo, this Taz, I'm trying to link up with you. Okay, and then what happened after that? Did he get back to you? Yeah, he responded back on the DM. What did you say then? Abdul West texted him and said, I'm trying to link up. I need some glass. So that was Mr. West who did that? It wasn't you? Yeah, it was Mr. West. It wasn't me. Oh, okay. And how do we know that it was Mr. West and not you? Objection. And then you guys said a meetup, is that right? Correct. Okay, and you go to the meet with a gun, is that correct? To meet with who? To meet with Robbie Johnson. Correct. Okay, and where is Mr. West and Mr. Baker when that happens? I don't know where they was at. Okay, so where did you go to meet him? Meet who? Mr. Robbie Johnson. 4000 Benner Street Road. Okay, and who set up that location? Robbie Johnson. Okay, so you go to his location? Correct. All right, and nothing happens? Just a drug transaction. So it was just a drug transaction? Correct. So it was as if you were getting drugs from Mr. Johnson to go sell meth on your own, correct? Incorrect. Oh, because you actually sort of bragged to a confidential informant that the meth you sold to him was one that you just got off the guy that you shot, correct? Correct. Okay, all right. So what did you do with the rest of the glass that you got from Mr. Robbie Johnson? I sold it to the CI. All of it? Yep. How much was it? An 8-ball. You're not even sure, are you? No. Okay, so when you're sending messages back and forth about Robbie Johnson for the meth, how much are you asking him for? An 8-ball or a quarter. So that's what you asked Robbie Johnson for? Either or. I thought it was Mr. West who did that. I didn't. You switching the words up. I just asked you twice how much you asked Mr. Johnson for, and you're the one who thought about it for a second and then said an 8-ball. Objection, Judge. Overruled. Excuse me, it's cross-examination. Overruled. You asked Robbie Johnson for an 8-ball. It wasn't Mr. West. It was you. That's 2 questions. Okay. You asked personally. Over the direct message, you asked for an 8-ball, didn't you? The direct message, I didn't do no direct message because I don't know how to use the Instagram. So what happened was Abdul West sent the direct message out. You're going to stick with that one, huh? Okay. So what happens is after you send the direct message to Mr. Robbie Johnson, you go meet in the 4000 Benner Street. Then you get cold feet, don't you? No, because I didn't send the direct message. I'm sorry? No, because I didn't send the direct message. Now that we brought it to your attention, you don't want to admit that it was you who sent the direct message? That's argumentative. I withdraw it, Judge. So what happens is you go and meet him at 4000 Benner Street and you say you don't do it because there's too many people around, correct? Correct. Okay, what time of day was it? Nighttime. What time? 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. How many people were around? Like 2, 3 people. You were in a car, right? Correct. And what, they're just standing there? No, they're sitting on the steps. So you're in a car and he's in a car. I'm in his car. Okay, so you couldn't move the car just like a block away? No, because my car was parked directly behind his car and it was still on. So it was impossible to just move up a little bit away from the people that were sitting there. Is that what I'm guessing you're saying? Yeah, there was cars in front of us. So the car couldn't move? No. Okay, so what happens is you decide at that point, I'm not going to do this? Correct. Okay, and you decide you're going to get somebody else to do it. Correct. Berto? Correct. And how long had you known Berto at that point? Probably like a year. A year? Yeah. So you had known him since 2016. Correct. And you still didn't know his full name? No. And you still didn't know where he lived? Nope. And you just knew that he hung out in your area? Yeah. Did you know of Berto ever doing a shooting before this? No. Did you know of Berto even having a gun before this? Yeah. So you knew he had a gun? Yeah. Okay, so you just figure, hey, I'll call Berto and see if he's down for a 187. Yeah. What made you think of that? I don't know. Well, come on. There had to be some game plan there, Mr. Stewart. I mean, you're calling somebody that you've known for a year, whose full name you don't know, who you don't even know where he lives, and you decide to say to the guy off the cuff, hey, are you down for a 187? Yeah. Oh, okay. So you say to him, are you down for a 187? And he says, thank God. He says, yeah, I think that would be a good day's work. Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Berto decides to get together with you when? I meet up with him that same night after I left Robbie. Okay, where do you go after you leave? By the way, did you give Mr. Johnson any money? No. So he was just fronting it to you? Yeah. Okay, and again, he was fronting you how much? 8 ball or a quarter? Still can't remember, huh? Yeah. Okay, numbers are tough. After he gives you the 8 ball or the quarter, you go and meet Berto where? When I get the 8 ball or the quarter, I went to Glenlock Street and I was examining the product and I was trying to come up with a plan on how I can re-meet up with Robbie but not be so suspicious. And that's when I thought, let me call Berto and see what he's doing. And it so happened he was in the area. I said, where you at? I went to go meet up with him. And I said, yo, Ab want me to do a hit for him, but the dude he want me to shoot is amongst the... Say this again? I said, the dude Ab wanted me to shoot is amongst OBH. So this is what I'm going to do. Is you down for a 187? He said, yeah. And I told him, all right, look. I showed him a picture. I said, look, I'm going to make a drug transaction with him, but you're going to come out of the woodwork and you're going to shoot him, but wait till I get out of the car. So this is basically just a drug robbery, right? A robbery? Yeah, you're going to steal the drugs also, right? The drugs stay in the car. It's a hit. No robbery. So you didn't take any of the drugs from him? You set up another deal, didn't you? Yeah, I was telling him I need some more. Right, you were setting up another deal. So you had him bring more drugs, right? Right. So it was a robbery. You took the product? No. Oh, okay. And what you did is you get into the car, you act like you're going to buy more from him, and then you have Berto come up and shoot him, right? Right. Okay. And that is just something that you set up without Mr. West having anything to do with? What do you mean by that? Well, I mean, how long were you in custody before you came up with the second story? Objection. No. How long were you in custody before you came up with the second story? Wait a minute. You'll have to take the second story out of your question. Understood, Judge. So you initially gave a different statement to the police, right? What do you mean by that, different statement? Well, you didn't say that Mr. West initially had anything to do with this, did you? I don't understand what you're saying. Okay. You were arrested when? Arrested for the murder of Robert Johnson? Actually, let's get into that. You initially get arrested for the gun, right? Right. You get arrested for the gun in November 2017? Right. I got to ask you something. Why did you want to get the gun back from Berto if you knew it had a body on it? Because I was trying to swap out and get another weapon? Right, but why would you want to have a gun that has a body on it in your possession? When you say has a body on it, you mean used for a murder? Sure, that it had been used for a murder. Berto has the gun, right? Berto has the gun, correct? Correct. Okay, Berto is not you. He doesn't live with you. He lives somewhere else that you don't know where, correct? Correct. But what you do is you tell Berto, I want the gun back? Correct. Even though you know that the best way for you to get arrested on the case at this point is to get arrested with the gun, correct? Uh-huh. You have to say yes or no. Correct. So what happens is, lo and behold, who gets arrested with the gun? I do. You do. And by the way, when you get arrested with the gun, you don't tell them that it was Berto's gun, do you? No. You tell them it was your gun, correct? I ain't tell them it was nobody's gun. Okay, you're right. But you get arrested with the gun in Philadelphia, correct? Correct. And lo and behold, they do ballistics to test, and guess what happens? The ballistics at the shooting scene for Robbie Johnson came back to the gun that just so happens to be in your possession? Correct.